What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, the second of the We Are Wrestling podcast. It's an exciting fucking night, and we got a whole lot of mischief coming your way. But before we get into all of that, Don, take it away.
That's right. Ben and I, we are going to be giving our predictions for WWE Night of Champions, which will be taking place in Saudi Arabia on this Saturday. We're going to be having a watch along on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. To all the listeners, to all the watchers, if you want to check it out, we will be doing a live watch along. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I know Danny will be taking the reins with Ben, hopefully. But before we dive into our predictions, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications, or if you're a listener, follow us. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course, you already know, the grind is real. So weird, like, adjusting to, like, the listeners and, you know, the watchers that are, you know, watching us. Yeah, but man, we're slowly getting there. But before we dive into the predictions for Night of Champions, how do you feel about the build-up going from Backlash to Night of Champions? Did you think WWE did a good job with this build-up?
They did a WWE bang-up job. It's Night of Champions, and whenever we find ourselves in, like, Saudi Arabia or, like, any other, like, you know, off place, it's usually, it doesn't, like, yeah, like, scope-wise in terms of, like, how it's presented is pretty big, but it doesn't feel like a big pay-per-view until now. Like, it genuinely feels like it's becoming a prestigious pay-per-view. Like, Night of Champions is taking place of Vengeance, right? Like low-key.
Yeah, it's, like, been going all over the place. Like, they switch it. It was Vengeance, then, like, they were supposed to do, like, King and Queen of the Ring, but then when they decided to go with the World Heavyweight Championship, they decided to scratch that, and they decided to go with Night of Champions instead.
Honestly, I feel like they capitalized on that. Like, yeah, it would have been cool to see, like, King and Queen of the Ring again, especially in, like, a pay-per-view. But at the same time, I'm also not mad about Night of Champions because every match feels kind of big. So, honestly, I mean, realistically, I dig the card. You know, I dig what I see so far. I feel like we can get some pretty stellar matches out of it. But yeah, I think they did a pretty decent job with this build-up, you know, comparatively to Backlash. Even though Backlash wasn't that bad either.
Yeah, like, Backlash, it felt like it was, you know, there really wasn't any crazy build to it. And the same thing could be said with, you know, Night of Champions. Because, of course, you know, like, we're in a period right now where we're transitioning, you know, from having, you know, guys on both Raw and SmackDown to now with this whole draft thing. And some guys, they're following the rules with the draft. There's other guys that have hall passes like Paul Heyman that can just show up anywhere at any time. And we got free agents, which I do like that part of it. But yeah, with Night of Champions, I think, like, these matches are going to be very solid. And some of the builds for this pay-per-view, I've actually been very impressed with. And other ones, a little bit lackluster, just like AEW Double or Nothing.
Facts.
But with that being said, let's dive into the matches and dive in deep and give our predictions. So, with the first match we have here, which this is not the exact order for, you know, Night of Champions. We just, you know, do it the way we want to do it. And yeah, just follow along with us. The first match here we have is for the Raw or SmackDown Women's World Championship. Can't even keep track anymore. We have Bianca Belair defending her title against Asuka in a rematch from WrestleMania.
Okay. You want my prediction or my thoughts?
Your thoughts first, and then I'll give my thoughts, and then we both give our predictions.
Okay. So obviously we have two fucking top tier female athletes. in the ring, and again, it's Night of Champions. It feels pretty big. Every fucking title is on the line that night, including the men's tag team champions, which we'll go into that. I think, with being Saudi Arabia too, with the fact that, their presentation kind of gets dulled down, obviously in terms of, the country and their beliefs and everything like that. And I'm not slandering that whatsoever.
Hey, they are
Um,
getting a lot better with it though, because Sami Zayn's on the card now.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll definitely get to that in the men's tag team title match, which I think is going to be our main event.
Yep.
Um, I really dig both athletes 100%. Like I said, creatively, I think new gimmicks are a must. I mean, the way that they're going with Asuka is pretty sweet. I do think, obviously, with the rumors and the rumblings, and obviously my own predictions of receipts in the past, you guys can go peep that. There's a heel turn coming for Bianca soon, and I could think that one, she could lose tonight or on fucking Saturday. I think she could lose. Um, I think that if she does lose, we're finally going to see like those cracks starting to form. With the said heel turn eventually. Uh, I think that it's going to be a pretty banging match. Both individuals are super established. I think that they're both, again, top tier athletes in the female division that really help run the show. So I think we're in for some pretty good shit, regardless of which way it goes. But obviously, they've kind of built Bianca low key as like a face Roman Reigns in terms of like her title reign, which is honestly not terrible. I'm not saying that she's undefeated or
I would say more like a female John Cena. I see from like Ruthless
Yeah,
Aggression.
yeah, not even from Ruthless Aggression, even from like the here and now. Like now that you bring that up, yeah, she is very reminiscent of
PG
John.
John.
Yeah, exactly. Like 100%, has, the fucking the fan reaction from the kids, adults, she's obviously establishing her legacy. Again, she's just great. So, um yeah, we're in for a banging match.
So, my thoughts going into this match with Bianca and Asuka. I really don't understand the build here. I don't understand why we're getting this match again. I know that they had a feud at WrestleMania, and then it's like Asuka disappeared from WrestleMania to Backlash, and then after Backlash, came back as a heel now. I think she's a full heel. And I don't know. I feel like this, to me, like I'm not really intrigued with Asuka anymore. I used to love her work in NXT, and I also really did like her tag team with Kairi Sane as well, the Kubiki Warriors. I think
It's the
that's their
Kabuki
names.
Warriors, bro.
Kabuki Warriors.
Wonder Bread.
And with Asuka, like I like how they're trying to do something different, but she's not even saying anything. She's not even really doing anything, and I don't know. I'm just not really behind her like I once was. And Bianca Belair, I really do hope wins this match. And, Bianca loses to somebody that we can turn into a star because Asuka has already established herself as a star in, the stacked women's division.
Oh
But I
yeah.
feel like we need to have that big payoff for Bianca when she loses the title because she's going on, I think she's already a champion for over a year now. So we need a bigger payoff. And I would wait
Well over.
until SummerSlam and I would try to put over, a newer established talent, like maybe Io Sky. She would be a
Ooh.
perfect person to win the title, I think. And that would take her
Especially
to the
after that
next level.
reaction at Backlash. Hell fucking yeah.
I think she's on SmackDown.
I'm not sure.
I can't even keep track. But then again, Paul Heyman has hall passes, so yeah, Io Sky, she can have a hall pass to SmackDown and win the title.
All right, so in terms of who I think is winning, I'm gonna go with Asuka because either way, that Io Sky match sounds pretty fucking sweet. So I think it could work either way. So honestly, I'm gonna go with Asuka because it's been a while. Obviously with how she is now, I'm gonna say let her cook. Because I think we're not anywhere close to scratching the surface of what this new Asuka is. I dig that she's not really talking because obviously with the language barrier, it's
Yeah, no, of
comes off kind of
course.
silly. But the way that it's coming now and how they're presenting her with being a little bit more mute and just kind of fist first philosophy, fucking punch first, ask questions later. I dig that. I think they're building her in a very interesting direction. They're going very
Do you
cultural,
know
which I
what
dig.
Asuka could definitely benefit off of?
What up? A
I
mouthpiece?
feel like they should find her a mouthpiece. I think that
See,
that would really take her off to the
See,
next
now that
level.
you say that, if there is one person I feel like would be great if they were down for a more televised role as a manager as well, I would go with Samantha Irving. The ring announcer. I think she's phenomenal, and I feel like she could add some kind of spice to Asuka, especially with just
Oh, dude,
how
I
she's
love
very
her ring
powerful.
announcing. I
That's what I'm
can't take her
saying,
away
dude. So
from
the
it.
fact that like if she were
Somebody.
down, if she were down to be a more prominent TV role, I would be sold 100%.
Like, imagine
Um,
her having a mouthpiece, and then all she has to do is put on those classics, and then you can have
she'd be
her
like a
be a
Japanese
dominating
Umaga.
force
Yeah,
as
she'd
the
be like a
champion.
dude. She could be built like Umaga, just fucking tanked, bro. Like she could do. Asuka is capable of a lot, which is why I'm. If you're gonna go Bianca, I'm gonna go Asuka. I'm gonna be the difference maker.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to have to go with Bianca on this one. I just hope after this pay per view, can we switch the colors or the design of the women's title already? Because it makes no sense that Asuka has a Raw title on SmackDown. And it doesn't make sense that Mommy has a SmackDown title on Raw. We need to do something about that because my OCD, it's pissing me off
He
then.
said,
Pissing me
"Mommy."
off.
Yeah, it's pissing me off too because I'm surprised that there isn't been a title swap. But after what Charlotte Flair did, I'm not surprised that they're not jumping the gun on that.
Yeah, me either.
That was just
But
pure unprofessionalism, bro.
But moving on now to the next match we have on the card, a match that I'm looking forward to, and I think you're definitely looking forward to this.
Which
It
one?
is for the Intercontinental Champion,
Yeah.
Gunther defending the title against Mustafa Ali.
My God. Oh God. Two Goliaths in their own right, and like fucking don't at me, dude. Like like I've already said, yeah, I did quite a few past recent fucking episodes. Um, I love Mustafa Ali. I think that the dude is criminally underrated. I think that his in ring ability outweighs a lot of the stars that are getting pushed, which is, obvious truth, man. Like, again, just peep his training videos, peep his, like, earlier in ring shit. The dude is crazy. He can do whatever the fuck he wants in the ring and slay it. That dude, gives a million every time he's on TV. I
He's
think
getting
that
better
he
on the mic,
needs.
too.
Mm-hmm. I think he needs a better push. He's getting a lot more comfortable on the mic, which I feel like you need to have certain mic skills unless given a mouthpiece or just given a very brute attitude like this individual, which we'll get to in a second. I think that we're in for another stellar match. I feel like this is going to be a card that just keeps giving. With Mustafa Ali, he's going to obviously be a fan favorite, and people are going to want to see that push during the match and, really let him capitalize on his abilities and what he can do. And I think we're going to get that, but now in terms of his opponent, the reigning, defending in-ring general,
The
Gunther
Ring
of,
General, Gunther.
yep, Gunther fucking of Imperium, like obviously, again, you can go back and rewatch our past episodes. There is nothing but praise for fucking Gunther, man. Like, there's nothing but praise. Obviously, we always speak highly on the Imperium leader. We always talk about how much the guy is obviously getting ready and bred for a push, a massive push at that. It's going to happen sooner than fucking later. Quote me, I guarantee he's winning the Rumble this year. 2024. I know he's winning the fucking Rumble, and he's definitely going to go to headline WrestleMania. 100 fucking percent. There is no doubt about it. They're just establishing greatness for another prestigious title, which he has made prestigious. And, I would be happy with either outcome. 100%. I would be happy because, again, love Mustafa Ali, needs a solid push. The last underdog we saw like this was Rey Mysterio. So 100%, if they were to push Mustafa Ali, let's get it. However, if they were going to keep Gunther as the champion, which I know for a fact that they're going to leave that for a higher fucking plan, likely SummerSlam, I would be happy if Gunther won as well. I just it's going to be hard picking, a winner for me, for sure. Especially with how Gunther is starting to bulk now. Like, we've obviously seen his weight loss and his shredding, and the dude looks fucking phenomenal. But if you've noticed lately, he's getting bigger. And he's getting into heavyweight champion fucking shape. So I think that we're in for some
Love the
amazing things,
emphasis
dude.
on that.
Dude, we're in for some fucking amazing shit in the future for Gunther. So, yeah, that's my thoughts, man. What's your whole view on this whole Mustafa versus Gunther for the IC title at Night of Champions?
I'm going to ask Triple H. I'm going to ask his right hand man, Jeremy Borash. I'm going to ask
Okay.
all of WWE one thing right
Hmm.
here, right now.
Talk to me.
Do not make this a squash match.
Fucking
Give these
Christ.
guys 10 minutes or more to go in there and put on a classic because we know how good Mustafa Ali is. We already know how good Gunther is. And this match, I think, could definitely be match of the night if you give them more than 10 minutes. This better not be no squash. We already saw this
All
past
right.
Monday on Raw, friggin' Brock Lesnar telling Mustafa Ali, get a life, kid. We can't have that burial in this match. We need an
Okay.
actual solid match here.
So, a couple things. One, let's take predictions on how long we think this match is going to last. I'm going to go with 13 minutes.
I'm going to go with 15 minutes.
You're going to go 15? Okay. Keep that shit fucking nice and square. Gotcha. Two, they're probably setting up Brock versus Gunther for the IC title. That might honestly be that might be the deal because I don't think Brock's going to be the beater of the streak and the one who dethrones Roman. I don't think that's going to happen. So putting the IC title on Brock would kind of bring him one step closer to being a Grand Slam champion if he really wanted to. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true. He's never
so
won that title.
and if
It's always
anybody
been the
could,
world
if
championship.
anybody could throw him the Gunther off for a main event push, it's Brock. So I would love that at SummerSlam, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, no, and here's one thing I'm going to add about Brock before, we continue getting into this match.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to obviously dive into it, when we get into Brock versus Cody. But with Brock Lesnar, I think that him and versus Cody, this is not the last time that they're going to face each other off. I think that they are setting something up here, especially having, with Monday Night Raw, having, Cody get that arm injury. I think they're definitely building something. I think Brock's going to beat Cody, Night of Champions, and then they're going to have a third match because it's going to be 1-1. And we're going to have a stipulation involved in it, like Hell in the Cell or like a 3 stages of hell.
And
But
the
that's a
winner
whole nother
and
topic
winner
for a whole nother day.
Yeah, and winner faces Roman likely. But I do want to throw something out as a little throwback as to what happened to Cody. So, you noticed how it happened? What vibes did you get?
Oh, depression, hardship. Cody,
No,
Dusty,
no,
hard times.
no.
When he lost to Roman,
Bro,
WrestleMania.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about not other than just that, but what other Brock segment that happened just like that happened a long time ago with another big individual. Brock out here breaking bones in the hands with very big objects.
Wait, I'm trying to.
The Undertaker. You remember when he fucking broke his fucking hand and they had that match? It was a part of the Tombstone series. It's the same fucking thing that happened. Like Brock is pushing fucking Cody the same way Undertaker pushed Brock.
Well, we're gonna get into Brock and Cody. Let's get back to Gunther and Mustafa
Okay, yeah,
Ali.
I'm sorry. It's getting juicy. It's getting juicy.
I know, we're getting too excited here.
Yeah,
we have
man.
a whole segment there with Cody.
Let's
and
fucking
Brock.
go, bro. Let's
All right,
fucking
so back
go.
to my opinion now on Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. I'm so happy an underrated guy like Mustafa is getting this opportunity. I think
Especially
that this
Jeddah.
character can really get. I think people can really get behind. I think
Shit, excuse me.
Mustafa is really giving it his all, and he's really making this work. He's getting over. He's getting reactions. And I think that, this is going to be a solid match. I think Gunther is going to go into this thinking that it's going to be an easy match, but Mustafa is going to go in there, give him a fight, and Gunther at the end of it, I think, will retain the championship. But it's going to be a great match.
So, I could see it being, an underdog story. I could see that surprising, upset and win. However, I'm still going to go with Gunther. There's way too much planned ahead of time. And with how he's making that title prestigious, I feel like it'd be silly to knock him off at a random pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. I feel like it should be somewhere else. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger yet, so I'm going to go with Gunther.
I think they want Gunter to, have the longest Intercontinental title run. I think they want him to beat Honky Tonk Man. I think that's like the long-term goal there. So I do think Gunter's going to win, but this is a great opportunity to showcase Mustafa Ali and, get him more over with the crowd because you're putting him on a premier live event. More eyes are going to be on this than a random episode of Monday Night Raw. So this is actually going to be really good for Mustafa. And I really like how Triple H is doing this with his premier live events. We have less matches, but the matches that he's giving us, he's putting in guys that aren't really seen in, the
He's capitalizing on their
eye,
opportunities,
the
yeah.
casuals' eyes. And I like how he's capitalizing on it. I think putting Mustafa in here is a great decision.
I think he's booking it the way that, in a pay-per-view like this, he's giving, the lesser guys bigger opportunities to kind of see who he's going to push next. Like, this is kind of like a trial period. Like, how is their reactions? How is their in-ring on a bigger scale? What can they bring to these pay-per-views to put asses in seats and potentially move needles? And this is a great opportunity to give those stars some TV time and really let them shine because we could see stars in the making here. It's like a little call up for an indie star, It's great. So I'm here for it. So
hey, we saw it with Io Sky in her match at, Backlash. Zelina
Bitch needs a
Vega got
solid
more
push.
over in her match as well.
They
She's
need
even
solid
more
pushes,
popular
bro.
now since then.
I'm saying they need solid pushes in singles competition, so I'm excited for
But
them
I
both.
like what Triple H is doing. People that he sees a lot of potential in, he gives them a premier live event match, and that is how they're going to start being noticed from the casual fans. So when the kids are going to these shows, because most, WWE crowds are kids with Raw and SmackDown. I've witnessed it.
Yep.
And this is a great way to, give the casuals, more people to root for and more people that, they're going to get to know and get behind. Like Mustafa, I think that this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I think we're in, agreement that it's going to be
Gunther
but a
retain.
hell of a match. Yeah. All right.
Alrighty. Moving on now to the next match on the card. This is for the SmackDown or Raw Women's Champion. Can't even keep track anymore. We have Mommy Rhea Ripley versus Natalya.
Okay.
Natalya's out of catering.
Yeah. Yeah, she can stay the fuck off that modeling shit with her sister. However, let's not pretend that she did not put on a hell of a fucking match in Elimination Chamber. She was fucking incredible. Like I said, she was great. That was one of the only times in the recent memory that she's been phenomenal and really helped carry a match. What's up?
I have a question. How long ago was Elimination Chamber?
That was a while ago. However, that gave me hope, because again, she's a veteran. She's been around for a long fucking time. So to at least see her get these opportunities, even if it is at random, so to speak, I'm glad. This is something that could really reshape things if they gave her a solid gimmick. However, we all know that it's gonna be Rhea. Rhea's gonna take it. It's not gonna be that super long of a match. I don't see them having a ginormous fucking thing because the buildup has just kind of been lackluster if there has been one,
Mid.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say it's not gonna be a squash match, but it's definitely gonna be quicker. They're gonna give Natalya some time to shine. Remind everybody that she's still part of the business. But other than that, I think it's a landslide. It's gonna be Rhea.
I really hope Natalya's contract's coming up soon because I would love to see her in AEW. I feel like she could be like the face of the AEW women's division because they're lacking, stars over there on their women's division. And I think Natalya, somebody that's like already done everything in WWE, I would love to see what she could do, not in sports entertainment, but pro wrestling. And I'm just waiting for that. But I feel like she's, not going anywhere. She's loyal to WWE.
She's a day one.
I respect that about her. But I do think that this storyline has been very lackluster. All it was, Rhea was backstage with Dominic doing an interview. Natalya comes, threatens her. Ooh, and that's how we get the match.
Ooh.
Spooky
Yeah.
fingers.
You piece of
But
shit.
yeah, I think that this doesn't go more than 7
Yeah.
minutes, and Mommy
Rhea.
is going to get the victory and make Donnie proud. Moving on now to our next match on the card. We have the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes versus Brock
Fucking finally.
Lesnar.
Let's go. Um Yeah, so obviously we got quite into a juicy conversation, a couple matches back. Like I was saying, it's very reminiscent to, the Undertaker Brock Lesnar build, especially the way that he broke his shit right up against a wall and he's screaming fucking bloody murder just the way like the Undertaker did. It's they both wanted to perform even with their said injuries, and obviously prevailed. I don't know if Cody's gonna slay the beast immediately. Like you said, it might be a series of three. 1-1, and then the last one is the big capitalization. I think that we're in for a fucking huge ass match. It could be a classic if it's not a fucking squash. I don't think that they're gonna squash Cody. I don't think that they're gonna give him a hellacious momentum just to cut him off with Brock and have him be another one that's buried in the mid card. I don't think that that's gonna happen. I think that Brock genuinely sees something in Cody, has seen that he has built himself outside of the company, came back and was a powerhouse. I
Brock
think
doesn't bleed for anybody.
he doesn't bleed for anybody. One and two. Brock chooses who he decides he wants to fucking work with. And the fact that he's working with Cody Rhodes, fucking Stardust, that shows growth hellaciously. If you got Brock's fucking respect enough for him to want to fucking scrape in the ring with you for more than 5 minutes, yeah, man. Like, Backlash was fucking great for what it was worth. And I'm excited for Night of Champions because the stakes are higher. It's a more personal
Not
match.
even Matt Riddle can get the opportunity to scrap with Brock.
And mind you, Cody just fucking got here after building an empire in another company and got hated because he didn't want to turn heel. He comes to fucking WWE and he's thriving. The grass was definitely
Best
greener on the other
decision Cody
side.
made.
For sure.
100%.
He bet on himself, man, and it's prevailing. Like 100%. And the fact that this was planned, yeah, am I pissed that he did not finish his story at WrestleMania? I agree now with time and, time to simmer on it. This was the
Hard
best way.
times.
Let him fucking work for it. Let him do the same story his dad did. Again, hard times, like you said. This is it. You keep fucking taking the hits, you keep falling down, but it's how many times you get back up. And literally, Cody is such a fucking star now, man. Like, there's no denying it. Cody has really reestablished himself, I should say, in WWE. He's really made a huge fucking name as the American Nightmare. I am really looking forward to this match. I think, again, I'm amazed with Brock Lesnar's performance as of late. Not only his in-ring, but his fucking mic skills are phenomenal. Like, just hearing him be able to fucking be himself is the greatest fucking shit we've gotten. Face Brock, phenomenal. This version of heel Cowboy Brock, phenomenal.
Even better.
Phenomenal. Like, I'm really fucking into it, man. I really think that this is going to be a hellacious match. I think there's a lot of respect between both of these individuals. Brock's a veteran, regardless of how much we've been pushed with him in our fucking face, and no matter how much a lot of us, seem to detest Brock and, repeating of story, the way he's being booked now, fucking phenomenal, my guy. Phenomenal. And him versus Cody Rhodes is just such a fucking money match. So, again, no matter how this ends, I'm fucking happy because it's going to add to the story.
And I'm very excited that we get to talk about this finally because
Let's go.
WrestleMania, the night after WrestleMania to Backlash, the storyline between Brock Lesnar and Cody was lackluster. It was very boring. But now, after Backlash, the decision to have Brock, get color and, come out with the bruises all over his face, the gash that was in like the forehead, and then, seeing this whole new side of Brock Lesnar, I'm invested. And they have sold me this match. And especially this past Monday on Raw, making the whole Monday Night Raw not about the bloodline for once, about Cody's kayfabe broken arm injury. And I love that we're bringing the serious Brock involved, and he's being himself at the same time, which makes it even more scarier, makes it even more better. And I love that we're going back to the arm because I remember when they first, brought Brock into WWE, the Kimura lock, that was his go-to. He broke Shawn Michaels' arm. He broke Triple H's arm. Even, the Undertaker's. And that was like a very, vocal move that Brock used a lot. And now Cody lit a fire under Brock's ass when he made him bleed. And this really adds to the story now because Cody obviously wanted to get revenge on Brock for, taking away his moment to get revenge on Roman Reigns the night after Mania. But Brock now wants to get revenge on Cody because he left a mark on his face. And when's the last time Brock Lesnar has had, color in WWE? I think it was John Cena.
Yeah, a long fucking time.
Extreme Rules was his first match back.
Yeah, and that was still very into, the beginning of like the PG era, so to speak. Like we were getting into like those Nexus storylines, we were getting into really silly shit, So this was right before. So yeah, that was a long time ago, man. That was over 11 fucking years ago. About 12 years ago. 2011 or 2012.
And you know something? With this feud with Cody and Brock, I really like this because like they are doing the hard time story. And I know Danny, he's not here with us on, this predictions video, but I know he has expressed this multiple times to the both of us, and I'm sure he already has on his streams or, the podcast, which you can check out every Saturday. But Danny, I know, wants this, hard time story to end at SummerSlam. He wants Cody to beat Roman and Detroit. And I think realistically what's going to happen here, they're doing this hard time story with Cody, and I think it's going to go all the way to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. And that's where they're going to have it happen because I actually did some old school research here, and the Dusty Rhodes hard time story, it was 1 year they did the build. And the last time we had one of these type of storylines was, I think it was WrestleMania 28 when John Cena lost to The Rock, and John Cena went through hard times for over a year before, getting himself in a position to go against, The Rock and not only beat The Rock, but also win the WWE Championship. I think that's where we're really going with this because Cody and Roman, they're on opposite brands now. Cody's the face of Raw. Roman's the face of SmackDown. And right now, Cody has to deal with Brock Lesnar. And I think Backlash, Cody got the win. Going into Night of Champions, I'm going to have to go with Brock Lesnar on this one because of the kayfabe arm injury. And then going into Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, don't know where they're going to do it. I think that they're going to have either a 3 stages of hell match or a Hell in the Cell type of match. And that's where Cody's going to, have his arm raised at the end of it. Brock moves on. Cody, will move forward and he'll go into his next program.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that they're waiting until Mania, I think.
Maybe. Who we got winning?
I have Brock Lesnar winning this one because of the arm. I think that this is not over for their feud.
I'm going to, logistically speaking, I am going to go with Brock as well. Just because I feel like that's the way that this should go, and it'll further the storyline and come into fruition the third of the series. And
the best storylines, if you have been a friggin' maniac, a We Are Wrestling maniac, like we are, the best rivalries, they don't have one match, they don't have 2 matches, they have 3. Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, they had 3 matches.
Oh my God, and that final match was a fucking classic for many reasons.
And we got one of the big 5 coming up, and there you go. Big payoff.
Yes, sir.
But one thing I definitely want to talk about before we move on, though, to the next match here, real quick. I was thinking about this because Brock Lesnar always did like part-time deals where like he would wrestle at like mostly the big 4 or the big 5 and like a couple pay-per-views here and there. But this year he's wrestling in like the most consistent, pay-per-views and like being consistent on TV. I want to know something. I feel like, is this Brock Lesnar's like last run? Like, is he going to try to like do this for like maybe the rest of the year and then he decides to hang the boots up?
Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing. I think that
It just
he's
came across
coming
my mind.
because he was set before he even came back in the first place. Like he was already established, he was already good. His money is obviously not tight for Brock Lesnar, so I mean, he doesn't have to do this much longer. And I feel like he's getting his last licks in. And he's doing his last more fuller run. He's doing his last traveling of the world, so to speak, because he's older. He wants to see shit before he really, really settles down. I think that yeah, this could be it, and then maybe in the future come back for sporadic Rumble appearances, maybe a Mania match here and there, like, farther down the line. But I think that he is aiming towards like retirement, so to speak, with a Legends contract.
I think that's like what it's happening. Like it just really come across my mind because this
Yeah.
year he's been wrestling at like almost all the Premier Live events.
See, I think 100% that he's going to have his final match, and I think it's going to be like either stipulated, like, retirement match, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep,
and I think that's going to be the first
100%.
time we get to see Brock legitimately break character, and actually be Brock Lesnar, and, be who he is, which is obviously introverted, but obviously just not a fucking beating machine. Like maybe he'll break character, you know, have his cries, so to speak, wave to the crowd, and then end it with one last F5, and then out he goes.
Something like, I don't know, man. I'm thinking about it, but that's like definitely something, down the
Yeah.
line that we're going to have to really
Come
start
on,
paying
man. Don't get
attention
me
to.
fucking emotional over Brock fucking Lesnar.
All right. Well, speaking of emotional, our next match on this card for Night of Champions, we have another women's match, which I really like how they're, showcasing the women on this card.
Yeah,
We
man.
have the man Becky Lynch versus emotional Trish
Excuse me.
Stratus.
Uh, I don't really got much on this match, man. Like it's cool to see Trish back. It's cool to see her as a heel. I think that that's kind of fucking sweet. I just feel like the build could have been better. I'm not really invested in this one as much as I am the other matches. I will say that again, great to see Trish. And good to see her is intact with the company as she is as of recently. It's good. It's always good to see a legend have gas in the tank. Becky Lynch is obviously another legend in the making, if not already. She's a walking fucking icon, man. The last time I saw charisma like this was Shawn Michaels. So I feel like that it's going to be a good match. It's going to be more towards a kind of a career mover rather. I think this is just going to be another accolade for Becky Lynch, and I think that this is going to put her over even more. Um, yeah, I think it's just going to be a feel good match. So ultimately, I don't really have much to say because again, build was kind of rushed, very lackluster, and I think again this is going to be one of three where it's going to culminate at fucking SummerSlam. I think that's gonna be the last one. And I think that's where Trish is
That
gonna
are
have
the
her face
reports that
turned
are
again.
coming out. That is the reports that they are going to be having more than one match.
hmm So I think it's gonna be another series of three to build another like big rivalry because the last Red that was a rivalry was Lita. This is the next big Red. So, yeah, I gotta say that it's gonna just be a feel good match and it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I gotta say, with this match, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm actually really excited about this one.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying Trish Stratus as a heel. Brings me back to, being a little kid watching Monday Night Raw when she went on that, little heel run in '04 when, when Christian turned on like Jericho and then
hmm
took Trish Stratus from him. Like it reminds me of like old school Trish, which I really like. And she's showing that she's, more than, one of the top baby faces in, WWE history.
No,
She
for
was
sure.
one of the best heels. And I really like how, they're putting Becky Lynch in storylines that aren't for the women's world champion because I feel like this is really solidifying Becky Lynch as a legend in the business, if not, a future Hall of Famer. I really think that, Trish Stratus doing some fantastic work here. I love the storyline, how, with Trish, she, attacked Becky and like turned heel because she got jealous of, Lita and her. And then Becky comes back, gets her revenge on Trish, and, we have this match. And honestly, this is, only, I think now Becky's in the stage of her career where, like, this is where, like, the real test is. Like, is Becky Lynch the man? Is she, like, the future Hall of Famer? Like, she's going on to a legendary career, and now we're getting to these legendary once in a lifetime matches. And I
Yeah.
like that we're getting this, with Trish.
I do too. Like I said, any return that's utilized well and it's more of like not really a long term thing, but a very periodical thing, I think it's great. I think it's a good way to kind of reintroduce some of these younger audiences to Trish Stratus and to a lot of these legends so they can go back and see what they've missed. I think it's great. I think that it's another rivalry that I think works, and it's gonna be a hell of a feud. So, as terms of who I think is
Oh,
gonna win.
oh, real quick before you say who's gonna win,
What up?
dude, I
What's your
gotta say too, the promos have been A+ in these. I love the disses that they're, taking at each other. I love during the contract negotiation this past Monday, she went woof woof to Trish because of the whole, Vince McMahon making her a dog. I really enjoyed
fuck?
that line. Like, I think that, this is definitely not the last match that we're getting with these two.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We're building towards something bigger. So who do you got?
Um, I think it's gonna be a good match, but I think Trish is gonna win somehow.
All right.
I think she's gonna take a heel run, a very big, heel move and win somehow. Whether it's interference, disqualification, well, not disqualification, doing something that could get her disqualified without the ref's knowledge. I feel like that it's gonna help build further. So I think the heels are gonna take this tonight, that night. So 100%, I'm gonna go with Trish.
So obviously, I had Brock Lesnar beating Cody, and they're going to go on to having another big match. I think that this time around, they're going to do something different here, and they're going to swerve us. I think Becky Lynch will beat Trish Stratus at Night of Champions. Trish Stratus will disappear for a few weeks. Becky Lynch will then focus on the women's Money in the Bank, because that will be the next Premier Live event.
Yeah.
And Becky Lynch is going to have that moment where all the women are out cold. She's going to climb up the ladder. Trish is going to screw her for that briefcase. And that's what's going to lead to SummerSlam. Trish
I could see that
versus
happening.
Becky.
I could see that happening.
So I'm going to have to go with Becky Lynch.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna switch my shit and go with Becky Lynch because that sounds actually very viable. So I'm gonna go with that.
Something
man.
different that
me.
we haven't
Yep,
seen in a while.
for sure.
So now let's get into the main event match for Night of Champions. And hopefully this is the actual main event for this pay-per-view, because last time at Backlash should have been Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, and they blew it. So hopefully this time we don't fumble the main event. So it is going to be for the WWE Tag Team Championships, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa and the Tribal Chief, the WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns.
So obviously we don't need explaining as to this very depth-filled, years in the making fucking feud. Like obviously there's no touching up on that background. But in
Beautiful
recent
story.
times, obviously Roman has considered himself somewhat of a belt collector. And he also has a lot of mistrust in the bloodline right now, and cracks are seeping through even with Solo. So, yeah, this is going to be a huge fucking match, man. I expect this match to be almost a half hour. Like, this is going to be a long fucking match, but it's going to be fucking incredible because there are personal feelings all around. Minus Solo, who's kind of just, a hitman. He's kind of like the fucking bouncer, and he doesn't really have much real loyalties at the moment, but we're starting to kind of see where it's kind of teetering, where it's starting to lie a little bit. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a fucking heavy-hitting match. Obviously, this is fucking Sami Zayn's first match in Saudi Arabia, so this is going to be huge on that front. I don't know how the crowd's going to receive that. I don't know how he's going to receive the crowd. I think it's going to be very
Well, no,
awkward
there was
at
a lot of
first.
people. I will say this. I'm not worried at all about the crowd with Sami Zayn because last time they were in Saudi Arabia, they all were chanting for Sami Zayn.
Well, yeah, because he's a huge part of a storyline as fans, but at the same time, I don't know how he's going to handle the crowd or he's going to handle Saudi because, again, he refused to go there for many years, and
Well, but
obviously
I
people
think his country and Saudi they came to peace or something. So I read something about that, and
maybe
that's why
okay.
he's going to Saudi for the show.
Okay, well, maybe. All right, so if that's the case, cool, fucking awesome. I'm all for peace. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty personal. Like it's gonna be a heavy hitting match. I think we're gonna see some more cracks with Solo and Roman. I think that there's gonna be something that happens, whether if it's Jimmy and Jay trying to interfere and gets Roman and fucking Solo disqualified unintentionally. I don't know if Solo might finally just say fuck it and walk out on Reigns. Like I don't know how this is gonna end, I don't think it's gonna happen right away, but I think that there's something that's gonna happen that's gonna push Solo a little bit, like
Down the
away from
line.
Roman. No, down the line for sure, but I think Night of Champions is going to be one of the first indications. Like I think we're going to not get something huge, but I think we're going to get something that's going to
We've
indicate
been
it.
getting a lot of teases going on
No,
with
for
the show.
sure, but I think this one's going to be bigger because it's on a bigger scale. It's going to a lot of be people. People are going to be tuning into this more than, like you said, a typical Raw or SmackDown. It's a
True.
premier live event, so they're going to want to put cracks in the surface. They're going to want to start pushing the storylines, and I feel like this is a good time to show it because this is the first time that Solo and Roman have stepped in a ring together to do something. So I
True.
think that this is going to be a test of loyalty. I think it's going to be a test of how well they can work together as a team because as you know, Solo and Roman have two completely different styles of approach and of wrestling. So you have to really think about how that's going to clash as well because it can. Because both have different ideas on how to approach certain situations in certain spots. So I think that might clash a little bit. I think that might start to frustrate Roman. I think Roman might finally try to almost snap on Solo. Solo's going to show some resilience, and then someone's going to get hit and obviously break that moment because fans are going to be fixed on it if it goes on for too long. So I think it's going to be, again, a really unpredictable match in terms of the spots and what's going to happen. But realistically, I think the tag team champions are going to take it.
So now getting into my, thoughts on this match. This is going to be another chapter in this incredible story that WWE has produced the last, couple years with the Bloodline. And I'm very excited for this. I think that this is going to be definitely a very important match because this is going to lead to the next chapter of the Bloodline story.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they're so patient with everything. And that's why this is such a fascinating story because they're not rushing into everything. Like there were so many times where we thought that Sammy was going to turn on the Bloodline. And
Yeah.
then eventually it happened at the Rumble, which good thing it happened at the Rumble because the payoff was better because of that. And I think that Night of Champions, if there's a time for the Usos to turn on the Bloodline, it's at Night of Champions. And I think that there's no better time than now because Roman Reigns doesn't trust them already because they already lost the gold for the Bloodline.
Yep.
Roman realizes that they can't do their job as a tag team. So now he has to wrestle with Solo Sikoa and, get the job done
But
and
ultimately
take the
fails.
titles back to the Bloodline. But here's where I think the Usos, I think that because even Kevin and Owens and Sami Zayn in their promos, they have been, trying to crack the Bloodline. And that's why the Usos have been on a losing streak ever since losing the tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
Sami and Kevin even mentioned in their promo, we dedicate this match to the Usos.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to break the Bloodline. And I think it's getting to that point now where it's already boiling. The water is boiling. We're just waiting for the explosion to happen. And I think that it needs to happen at Night of Champions. We need to get on to the next chapter of the Bloodline. After Sami and Kevin retain the titles, they go on and, they have, another feud with, other tag teams before eventually Kevin, turns heel on Sammy and we get the NXT thing all over again long term. That's 6 months later,
for
probably.
sure.
But I think that, this is going to be the next chapter. It needs to happen now because what I want in the Bloodline storyline, and I think you're going to agree with me on this, we need to get the Usos away from them, and we need to have, Jay turn face.
Main event Uso, bro.
And what we need to do, too, is this will add another storyline into the Bloodline stuff because then they can move on from Sammy and Kevin because Roman's issues now are going to be with the Usos for turning their back on their family. And then there you go. You can have Solo Sikoa have a feud with Jimmy or Jay. Whoever you want, maybe both. And I think, okay, I'll let you go.
Hot take. This is kind of off topic, but don't fucking at me. But I think Jay's going to be the one to fucking dethrone Roman. Main event Uso, baby. Sorry. Been a believer since day one. Anyways, continue.
Jay will always be better than Jimmy.
Oh, yes.
Always.
Always.
But I think what's going to happen here, I want the Bloodline story. I want the Usos to be away because now I want them to build Roman and Solo Sikoa. Build that up. And I think that, honestly, having them two left in the Bloodline with the Wise Man, there's a lot of storytelling that they could do there. And I think that it's only going to further this entire beautiful story that has been told. I think the Usos, their time is up now. I think they're fed up with the tribal chief. They're going to super kick the fuck out of him when the referee is knocked out. Sammy and Kevin are going to get the victory. And then, Roman Reigns now, him and Solo, they're going to be focused on Jimmy and Jay. Mm-hmm. And there you go. That's going to be your SmackDown feud.
And then it's going to be fucking Jay and Jimmy trying to convince Solo that fucking Roman is just pure fucking evil. And then that's going to build Roman versus Solo. So, yeah.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. All right.
And I think Solo and Roman, it's not going to happen right away. There's going to be cracks in this match.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
They're already teasing it, but they're not going to jump the gun because you need to get the Usos away from the Bloodline first.
Oh, for sure. And they're already doing that.
Before we have Solo and Roman. And I think that we need to do this because Solo Sikoa, we know there's big things in store for him. And
future champion.
If you want Solo Sikoa to be the next Roman Reigns, you need to have the Usos away from the Bloodline, and we need to shift our focus now on Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns.
Absolutely.
Solo Sikoa has really been the savior here. Mm-hmm. He helped Roman escape Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. He helped Roman defeat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So now we need to go into, the Bloodline with just Roman, Solo, and the Wise Man.
Yeah, I agree. So we're in agreement. Tag champs are going to take it.
Yep, I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they're going to retain the titles, and hopefully on Monday Night Raw, we get new tag team title designs because I'm sick of these Spartan red and blue titles.
Let's fucking go.
Alrighty, well, to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that were listening, that were watching, let us know which match you're looking forward to the most. We really hope you guys enjoyed, the predictions. We really like to dive into each match and really analyze it and give our thoughts and opinions on it. But if you guys enjoyed the predictions for Night of Champions, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, if you're watching, subscribe. If you're listening, follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We're going to be doing a live watch along to Night of Champions on Saturday. I believe it is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yep. So we will be live on the We Are Wrestling channel. It will be Danny and Ben. I, unfortunately, won't be there, but I will be with Danny on Sunday for AEW Double or Nothing. I have a gender reveal on Saturday. That's why I won't be there. It's not because I like AEW better than WWE.
Wait, who's having a baby?
Joey.
What? And nobody fucking told me?
The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me and Ben on our social medias and other YouTube pages.
Part 2 coming soon.
Below. In addition, you want shorter clips of the podcast, you can go follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there. Holy shit.
We are taking over. Peace.
We're taking over. Peace.